Our train is delayed, and I'm late for lunch with a boy I like because he makes me feel less lonely, and that seems like a sufficient definition for love these days. In this city, where it is possible to be surrounded by the warmth of millions of apartment lights and still feel cold, the lights turn off. And it's one of those moments where we are forced to look up from our screens and remember that we exist outside of them. They tell us that someone jumped in front of the tracks, that he died upon impact. So we just sit there in silence as they remove his remains. And some part of us is happy because of this. This is the first time we have felt like part of something greater than ourselves in a while. In this city, where sometimes it takes an accident to remember what the purpose of a body is to begin with. When the train starts up again, the woman next to me starts complaining and asking why he didn't do it at home, how he could have saved us the trouble and time by taking a bottle of pills before leaving the house. How selfish it is to delay others with your death. And I want to hug her. Say, remind me the purpose of this arm. Love her. Say, remind me the purpose of this heart. But you see, this is America, where people scatter on the streets like discarded leaves, only touching accidentally as we land on these cities we grew up circling on maps. Saying, remind me of happiness, and somehow convinced ourselves they did, the same way we believed in the borders between countries so well that we built a wall around them, called it mine. This is America, where pain is a ritual we are required to conduct in private, an elaborate symphony on mute. Call it, he died in his sleep peacefully, as if the stroke did not tear him to pieces. Call it, he lived to be 86 years old, as if he didn't hate himself for at least 30 of them. Call it accident, not no health care. Call it casualty, not calculation. In America, death is a distraction. It is 30 of us sitting together underground on a subway train, unable to hold each other and weep. So instead, we sit in silence and wait until we can move again, back above ground into the light, and forget how much death must be in the soil to grow such beautiful denial. I want to text the boy above ground waiting for me. Ask, have you ever been to a funeral with complete strangers? But instead, I look at the woman next to me. The one who told a dead man to die more considerately. And I remembered that to live in America is to attend a funeral with complete strangers. How many ghosts does it take for a cemetery to call itself a country? To live in America is to blame the dead for their own death, not the country, for creating the very conditions that already killed them. I understand the ways we have been taught to apologize for our sadness, to blame ourselves for the hurt, to erase the violence, to numb the pain, to normalize the death, to wake up in the morning, deny that sometimes when the train crawls into the station that we may see a pill in its place. That we may wonder what it would mean to have people empathize with our suffering for once in our fucking life, what it would feel like to hold the captive attention of a funeral of strangers. So I want to embrace this woman on the train and say, I am afraid too. Say, sometimes this silence feels like the highest pitch of screaming. Say, I understand. Say, these past 30 minutes were the first time I have been forced to publicly grieve in a long time, and there is something beautiful about that. Say, what if we stopped moving more often, took a second to absorb the pain, let it fill us a little less empty? But instead, I will sit here and wait until the train starts up again. I will exit the car without saying goodbye to her. I will walk up the stairs to the boy with a smile that makes me feel less lonely. I will apologize for being late. I will not have the words for a type of loss that is so distant, it is intimate. After lunch later, I will get back on the train. I will remember. I will soon forget.